I think by the time we got to last weekend, most people realized the Super Mario Brothers was going to be a big success, but no one really could understand just how enormous the success that the Super Mario Brothers was going to have. It shattered records across the board, broken records by Disney, broken records from Universal Studios, Illumination, all kinds of animation records. Parents are looking for great opportunities to enjoy entertainment with their children, but they are being a lot more selective about what they're willing to let their children enjoy, especially at the movie theater. And at this point, pretty much everyone under the age of 60 has played Super Mario Brothers at least once in their life. So I'm not surprised by this. I'll get more into that, but let's get to the details first. The Super Mario Brothers movie shattered numerous records in its opening weekend across North America and 70 international markets over the long Easter holiday weekend. The movie blasted past even the most bullish expectations to earn $204.6 million in its 5-day domestic debut, including $146.4 million for the 3-day opening weekend. Overseas, it pulled in another $171 million for an astounding worldwide start of $375.6 million, the best showing of the year to date on all fronts. I can tell you right now, my kids don't really watch television. They pretty much only watch YouTube at this point, and we have YouTube Premium, so they never ever see commercials. They've never seen a trailer for this, but my 7-year-old was adamant that we had to go see the Super Mario Brothers movie on opening weekend. I tried my hardest. I wasn't able to do it. Most of you probably know I'm actually about 4.5 hours away from a city with a movie theater, so I would have had to drive 4.5 hours or take a plane to actually go see this with my son, which I really did want to do. I tried my best, but we weren't able to pull it off. But this is the first moment in his lifetime where he's come up to me and demanded that he gets to see a movie in the theater. I believe the style of animation and actually staying true to the Super Mario Brothers, the character designs, the way the world looks in the video game definitely helped this out as far as the massive success that is Super Mario Brothers in comparison to every other thing that's been produced and released in 2023 so far, which includes a massive MCU movie introducing their big villain that's going to set up the next 2 Avengers films. The Super Mario Brothers movie beat the piss out of that one too. It's absolutely, it's kind of shocking, but it's not shocking because people have actually been telling not only Disney, but all entertainment this for quite some time. We're tired of your bullshit. We're going to tighten the belt and start being more selective with what we spend our dollars on as far as entertainment, because a lot of companies out there just aren't producing good entertainment, especially for children. They're going out of their way to poison the well when it comes to children's entertainment. And I'm definitely looking at you, Disney, and I got something to say to you here in a few moments when we start talking about the success that not only the Super Mario Brothers are having, but really just Universal and Illumination altogether. Already, Super Mario is the 4th highest grossing animated title of the pandemic era, with Universal, who owns both Illumination and DreamWorks Animation, claiming all 4 spots. Minions: The Rise of Gru tops the list with $942.5 million, followed by sleeper hit Puss in Boots: The Last Wish with $480 million, and Sing 2 with $412 million. At this rate, Mario could be the first billion-dollar grosser of 2023. There is a damn good chance, because of the word of mouth that this movie got as well. Yes, it was absolutely slaughtered by the critics. They said it was a terrible movie. You shouldn't go take your family to go see it. But everyone that's going to see the Super Mario Brothers movie, who actually likes Super Mario Brothers when it comes to video games, seem to like it. The word of mouth on this is very, very strong. Disney is not the dominant force in animated feature films in any way, shape, or form. They're absolutely getting destroyed by Universal with their 2 animation studios. Obviously, you look at Disney and you think, well, you got Disney and you have Pixar. How can you actually beat that? But they're not actually delivering good Disney movies. Disney set the bar very, very high, and they have not been achieving that for a very long time. Pixar set the bar even higher than that, and they haven't achieved it either. People are turned off to the product, and they can see what Disney is doing. We're not oblivious that Disney are in there trying to influence children with their own political agendas and all that stuff, and it has absolutely poisoned the well. And I do not believe this is going to stop at movies. I do not believe that this is going to stop on streaming and stuff like this. Disney is the premier family park pretty much in the world, right? I would imagine Universal Studios is right there behind them. And now they have all these awesome kids IPs to drive more family traffic to these parks. And it would not surprise me within a couple of years if the Universal Studios parks aren't above Disney as the go-to destination for family entertainment and family vacations and stuff like that. I've been to a Universal Studios park, and it was a lot of fun. I've been to Disney World as well. The park and attractions, there was certainly less of that at the Universal Studios one, but the stuff was just cooler. And you can see that Universal don't hate their own IP. They don't hate their own history, whereas you see Disney going out of their way to take anything that people have enjoyed in the past in their park and just destroy it because they really just don't like themselves when they look in the mirror. This is absolutely the entire audience, not just families, but adults as well, letting Disney know, putting them on notice. We are tired of your bullshit, and there are other options out there that are actually providing entertainment that we want to consume. Who doesn't want to see the Super Mario Brothers done justice on the big screen? Who doesn't want to see Kirby on the big screen? Who doesn't want to see The Legend of Zelda or Donkey Kong or all these other really cool projects that Illumination will likely bring to the big screen over time now that we've had this massive success? And when I say massive, it's hard to understate just how successful this is at this early return date. And I do not believe this will be a Pixar or MCU like big time fall off in week 2. I think the fall off will be very gentle for Super Mario Brothers just because the word of mouth is so strong. And I believe this film is destined to go well over $1 billion worldwide, which is enormous for an animated feature. It is already the biggest worldwide opening of all time for an animated film. Super Mario passed up the global debut of Walt Disney Animation's Frozen 2, which skated to $358 million in November 2019. It is the second biggest domestic opening of all time for an animated film, just ahead of Pixar's Finding Dory, and just behind The Incredibles 2. It is the second biggest international opening of all time for an animated film, behind Frozen 2, which remains number 1, with a foreign launch of $228 million. It is the biggest opening of all time for a video game adaptation. Until now, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 topped the list with best opening among video game adaptations with a 3-day domestic debut of $72 million. Absolutely blew that one out of the park. The biggest opening of 2023 to date, it sped past Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which debuted globally to $225.3 million, including $106 million in North America and $117 million overseas. Super Mario is also the top opening in Illumination's history. Despicable Me 2 was previously Illumination's biggest global launch with $208 million in like-for-like markets, while Minions had topped the list for best domestic openers with a 3-day weekend of $115 million. It is the fourth biggest global day-and-date opening in Universal history, behind Furious 7, Jurassic World, and Fast 8, The Fate of the Furious. It's also the top 5-day domestic opening for a Wednesday to Sunday launch, passing up Transformers: The Revenge of the Fallen, which was the previous record holder with $200 million. And it is now the top animated opening of all time for all of IMAX, which tells me it wasn't just kids going to see this, likely adults, because you normally don't spring for the extra $10 to take your kids to go see an IMAX movie. And they wouldn't appreciate it anyway. The bunch of heathens, they never appreciate anything you do for them, right? But you love them anyway. Kids are great. And that's why you want to go out there and enjoy a lot of fun on the big screen in a movie experience. Some of the best memories of my childhood were going to the movies with my father as a kid. I still remember seeing The Princess Bride for the first time, one of my favorite movies of all time, right behind Star Wars. And I want to have those types of memories with my children as well, all 3 of my boys. But right now, I don't want to take them to see any more Disney movies. I took my oldest son to go see Strange World, and it was a big mistake. I guarantee you he would have liked the Super Mario Brothers movie more because it was actually a movie for kids trying to entertain kids rather than to try to influence them and teach them. It's just the weirdest thing how Disney has just lost their entire core competencies as a company, throwing them by the wayside. But thankfully, there are companies out there like Illumination that are ready to jump there into the spotlight and realize there is a fervent audience for family-related animated movies that kids want to go see with their parents. And they want to go out there and they will support them en masse to the tune of record-breaking box office receipts. It sounds like the Super Mario Brothers movie is going to do huge business. I imagine it's going to be in theaters for a couple more months at least. Probably goes over $1 billion, and we are guaranteed to see, at a minimum, a sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie. I imagine we'll be seeing many more Nintendo properties from the Illumination Studios, and kids are going to enjoy it. I don't think this is going anywhere anytime fast, because I'll tell you this right now, I would much rather see an Illumination film of any Nintendo property, no matter how random, than see the next live action remake from Disney that has all the exact same songs and just absolutely sucks. They haven't made a good one since The Jungle Book, and I think the only reason I like that one was because it was different at the time, but it's become so passe, it's not even funny, it's all boring, and I don't mind seeing Disney go down, and I certainly don't mind seeing other companies go out there and seeing the void created by Disney vacating there and going in there and providing great entertainment. I'm glad to see that the movie is doing very well. I do like video game movies. I've actually talked about this here on the channel. In fact, I did a top 5 video game movies of all times list with my friend Mark Pellegrini. If you haven't seen this one, have a lot of fun as we talk about some of the best video game movies of all times, although likely Super Mario Brothers would top the list now. If you don't see the video here, there's also a link in the video description.